Welcome to the final episode of Frontier Fundamentals. In this episode, I'll be showing you the various versions of Frontier that you can run on a modern system. Firstly, we have the Amiga version, which I've been using throughout my series, running on the WinUAE emulator. It's a bit less intuitive than many other emulators, such as those for consoles, but there are these quick start options which make it simple to set up for general use. You will need to find some kickstart ROMs, but I'll have to leave it to you to find those. There's a ton of tutorials online showing how to set up WinUAE, so refer to those if you want to know more. Okay, when you start up WinUAE, you will be presented with this. You start off on the quick start menu. There are a lot of options in this emulator, but you can generally just use the quick start options. You can select here which model you want to emulate. I generally go with the A4000 for this game in particular. There will be compatibility issues depending on the game you're using, but since we're talking about Frontier, I go with the A4000 because it's got the fastest processor and best memory and stuff, and it basically just makes the game run much smoother. You'll find stuttering issues if you try to run it on lower systems. So you just you've got the emulated drives here, the floppy drives. You just click select image file for the first one, and then select your ADF file, which is an image you can find. You can find this is the shareware version. I'll link to that in the description. And you just double click that and then start. And it will load up the game. You can see down in the bottom left here, just below where the mouse is, it shows that 40 and the O2. Oh, yes. It will say, that basically indicates that the floppy drive is being read. Okay, so, and then it starts up, and as you can see, the graphics are running nice and smoothly. You'll notice it running a lot less smoothly on other emulations of the system. When I played it back on the Amiga 1200, I never had the same decent frame rate, so it was always combat was always a little tricky. So yeah, this is probably the best way to play it. I think it's the closest to the original, and it runs nicely. Look at that, it's beautiful. And I think the music in this version is superior to the DOS version. So anyway, there's another version I should mention, which is if you press F12 you can get back into the menu. And I'll just reset here. And then if I select this is the special edition. Now this is a port of the CD32 version. I'll put a link to where you can get this in the description too. This is in many ways a superior version, but there are some issues. Hang on, what am I doing wrong here? Oh, there we go, it's loading up. Okay, the main problem I have is that when you when you're just flying about. Okay, so it has a few improvements. For one, this cityscape is new. Let's just launch and take a look at it. But there is a problem in which the laser will randomly fire, and I don't know why. And that is obviously a problem for trying to play this game. You don't want to be just randomly shooting and then getting in trouble with the police. So you can see there's a lot of cool stuff here. There's also a navigation computer in this version, which is something that exists in the sequel, Frontier First Encounters, which I'll be covering shortly, which is extremely useful and saves a lot of pissing about in the in the system view. So yeah, if you can get this version working right, I think this is probably the best version to play with. But I've been just going with the standard floppy version. So anyway, that's how to get it running on the on WinUAE. So this is the DOS version, which is worth mentioning. It's pretty much the same as the Amiga version, but there are a few differences, notably some bugs, including the mining bug. But there's bugs in pretty much every version of Frontier of one kind or another. So as you can hear, the music is not great because it's DOS, but I think you could probably do something with some kind of Roland emulation or something. But one thing you will notice is the use of textures in this version, which I think actually make it look worse. I mean, it would have probably looked better back in the day, but yeah, low resolution textures really let down old 3D, and I think the flat shaded look is much preferable these days. So let's just take a look into the game. I'll just start on Mars, and if we just take a look around, we can see there's that texture on the ship. It's running quite slow. I could mess around with the cycles and stuff, but yeah, if there's plenty of guides to DOSBox on how to get it running fast, but I don't really consider this the best way to play this game. Yeah, you can see some tiny little differences, like the colors and things. Even the characters look a little different. They look a bit more blurry. Yeah, and these buttons are grey. It's very strange. It's like playing a parallel universe version of it. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of the Amiga version instead. Yeah, I mean, look at that. It's just this horrible grey texture on it is not nice. Look. Oh my god, it's a pink line transport. Get it away. Okay, so that's the DOS version if you want to try that out. This is GL Frontier. It's not Green Lantern, it's OpenGL, as in the graphics thingy. And as you can see, this is a quite smooth and nice looking flat shaded version. This is actually ported from the Amiga version using the OpenGL engine, and it runs natively on modern systems, so you don't need to do any emulation. There are some graphical glitches because this is obviously running 3D models that were not designed to run in this kind of resolution, but generally it looks pretty okay. There are some problems with like that pulsing there, that's not quite right. The planets, unfortunately, as you can see, they're all just gradient spheres. But, you know, if you want to play the original Frontier, yeah, there's definitely some glitches there. You can see that the land is disappearing away, so it's not perfect, but it's pretty cool to see Frontier running in this kind of resolution. So yeah, let's get into the game a bit and show you some of it. I'll go into Mars just to, yeah, as you can see, the options are kind of different. You can change the space to be dark or light. Yeah, so let's just launch and take a look around. The sounds are a bit different. The game comes with I'll put a link in the description to the download for this, and it comes with a sound pack you can use. I'm guessing you can probably substitute in your own sounds and music if you wanted to. As you can hear, that is actually the Amiga music. Hey look, there's a church. Woo! Yeah, that was risky. Oh dear. Yeah, these churches are actually pretty cool because you can actually see the time on them, or you could. Oh no, you can't on this version. Yeah. Now you see, there's an example of one of the graphical glitches. Anything that's a circle shows up as like this weird blotch. Let's look at the external view. Oh dear. You can see there's some bleed through. Incoming missile. Oh no. Oof. And that is a rather obnoxious laser sound, if you ask me. So I'm going to make that stop. There. So yeah, you get some idea. This is Ross 154. I'm trying to give you a look at the kind of issues I'm talking about. That looks pretty good. Tiger Trader. Yeah, the Tiger Trader is an example of the problem we're talking about. Actually, that reminds me. The one interesting thing about this is because it's ported from the Amiga version, you can actually use your Amiga saves. They're completely compatible. So if I load up here, you may recognise this is the Alepha system from the last episode. This is right where we left off. For some reason the background stars aren't in there, but there we go. So yeah, I'll take a look at the back. See there, the back of the ships. It looks okay there, but they're little spheres. These holes are just like spheres projecting out of the back. So it's not perfect, but it's quite an impressive achievement. Yeah, as you can see, it's pretty damn awesome. Obviously, these look a bit out of place because they're so low resolution, but that's because they're bitmaps. Anyway, that's GL Frontier.